Hello, Ron Willauer. Another video in our series on the book of Matthew. We are at Matthew chapter 5, verse 33. You can see the title there is Oaths. We're going to look at verses 33 through 37, which I'll start off by reading. Again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but perform to the Lord what you have sworn. But I say to you, do not take an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not take an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil. So Jesus here is again bringing the standard of the law back up to what was intended. Looking at Matthew 5:33 again, he says, again, you have heard that it was said to those of old. Well, again, that's the oral traditions. He didn't say, again, you have seen that this is what was written. So the oral traditions of the day were taking the law and lowering the standard, making it of no effect by making it simply an outward observance, simply meeting the minimums, and that was not the heart and intent of the law. So if someone, when the Bible talks about swearing, we're not talking about using bad language. It's talking about taking an oath, and we'll talk about what an oath is a little bit. But basically, the lower standard here is, well, if you don't swear falsely, you're good. Well, you can lie to somebody if you don't swear then, and it's okay. I mean, how is this a lower standard? Really, I think that's what it is. It's you shouldn't swear falsely. But the biblical standard from the heart of God is that everything you do is done in truth and honesty. So it's lowering the standard. If you don't swear falsely, you're okay. Now this verse he quotes from, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform to the Lord what you have sworn, is taken from Leviticus 19:12. We'll just look at that real quick so you can see where he's quoting it. And it looks like I put the wrong number in or something. Here it's 12. It's just down a little bit farther. So it's right here. It says, you shall not swear by my name falsely and so profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. So in the Old Testament, it says it's okay to swear, but you better swear an oath. We're talking about, again, not bad language. But you better do what your oath is. And an oath is basically saying, God, I am calling upon your name in what I'm saying, and if it's not true, judge me. So it's bringing a curse upon yourself if you don't do what you're taking an oath. Or it can be, you can take an oath that you're testifying what you're testifying is true, like in court. Or you can take an oath where you're promising to do something in the future. In either case, the problem is if you do that, and it's in reference to God, in the name of God, and you don't do what you say, you're profaning or you're dirtying, lowering, trampling upon the name of God, and the name of God is to be honored. So that's really the point of what an oath is. Sorry, again here I put the wrong, that's Matthew 5:33, not 6:33. And, okay, Matthew 5:33 again. Again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform to the Lord what you have sworn. But then Jesus takes that further, and he says, verse 34, but I say to you, do not take an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not take an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Now, when he's saying here, don't take an oath by heaven, or by the earth, or by Jerusalem, that is not taking an oath directly upon the name of God, but God's associated. He's saying to it, so you can't get out of this by, well, this isn't really a real oath. It's not an oath upon the name of God. It's upon something associated with God. And Jesus is saying here, no, you are really still calling upon the name of God and taking an oath on something associated with him like this. And then verse 36, do not take an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Well, you don't have power to keep the oath. When you make a promise, you might fail in your promise. And on the other standpoint, if you're just taking the oath upon yourself, bringing the consequence, the curse upon you for not keeping the oath, you don't have the power to do that either. In the book of James, well, we're going to look at a couple places in the book of James, but one is James 4, starting in verse 13. We want to look at that. You can see the title there is Boasting About Tomorrow. James wrote, come now, you who say today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. Well, so he's saying you're boasting when you say you'll do something in the future. You don't know whether you're able to or not. So you certainly don't want to take an oath that if you don't get it done, there's going to be a curse come upon you. So there's, let's go back to Matthew, jumping around here a little bit, but these are pertinent verses. So this last verse, when Jesus says, don't take an oath, what he says, let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil. So he's saying, just be truthful. See, if we're following Jesus and he's the truth, and we love the truth, and we want the truth, we want to honor God, you'll tell the truth. Swearing that you're telling the truth is really implying, sometimes I don't. But it's saying you just always be honest, always be truthful. Anything more than this comes from evil. Well, for one reason, it's boasting, like we just read in James. You're taking an oath that you're going to do something and you don't know that it's going to be the case. But really, the Christian life is supposed to just be total truthfulness at all times. So you shouldn't need an oath to confirm that you're telling the truth. Now, you go into a court of law and they want you to swear on the Bible an oath that you're telling the truth. And I believe in our country, I'm not a lawyer, but I believe you can just say, no, I want to affirm, and they let you do that. At least, the languages you can swear or affirm. You don't have to take an oath. And you want to obey what Jesus is saying here. So the idea is just, instead of this lower standard of, well, when you swear an oath, you better tell the truth. The higher standard is, don't even take oaths, just tell the truth all the time. That's really the point here. Now, one more verse I want to read, just because it's James wrote the same thing as Jesus spoke and was recorded here. That's in James 5. And verse 12, it says, "But above all, my brothers, do not swear, neither by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation." So he's saying the same thing. Just always tell the truth. Don't swear at all. You won't fall under condemnation. And you would be condemned for swearing and not keeping what you swore, and God would judge you and punish you. And God doesn't want to do that. He wants to bless you. And so there's a good reason not to take an oath. So going back to Matthew and what Jesus said again. So that last verse there summarizes, let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil. So Jesus, in this part of what we call the Sermon on the Mount, is again and again comparing what the Pharisees teach in their oral tradition to what God taught in the law and what the true heart intent of the law is. And the true heart intent of the law here is total honesty, total truthfulness. So thanks for listening. I'll get another video out later. Thanks. Bye.